what can we learn from the packed lunch index? Here is the retail analyst, Kate Hardcastle.
I think it's really evident that many of us are still struggling, still budgeting, and still trying to find a way of making it through the pay week, let alone the pay month. And I think that we've gone back to the tradition of taking a lunchbox with us, so we're not tempted by meal deals that, have really gone up over the years, haven't they, Matt? £3 meal deals, now £5 in some instances. And if you do that a few times a week, it really makes an impact. But I think there's more under the hood of this, really. If you start to look at it, many people were obviously at home for a period during COVID, and they learned to really embrace cooking, batch cooking, really getting to grips with the kitchen. And I think perhaps what I would have taken as a lunchbox to work maybe 20 years ago, which certainly wasn't enticing, is a very different proposition these days.
I suppose you're right that we've seen, if you're going into the coffee shops or the supermarkets, and those meal deals have really crept up. Does that then become a vicious circle? If fewer people are buying it, are we going to see those prices actually going up even more because they need to make more money out of the people who are buying that stuff?
Well, I think a lot of the retailers have tried to take the pain out by making can I call them exotic? You tend to have more options now. There's different healthier bites included. It's not all about a white bread sandwich and a packet of crisps. But I think you've had to see a rise in prices because we've seen that food inflation everywhere. There will be an absolute limit to it. There will be a peak as to what people find appropriate and possible to pay out. But the rest of it in your mindset is going to start equating that to other things you can buy. And this is what we've seen, this flood of social media in terms of education in bite-sized chunks on how to run your own budget. And I think that idea that we compare now a price point to something else I can get for that is very different. So that splurge spending is definitely very emotional. And I'm not quite sure how much joy people really get out of maybe buying one of those ready-to-go lunches. I think they can spend £5-6 in very different ways and get a better deal for them.
So last year, workers bought 57 million more homemade lunches into the office compared to 2022. I think all 57 million was standing in the queue for the microwaves in our canteen. Is this a trend that's here to stay? Or if the economy picks up, will people be leaving the Tupperware at home and splashing out again on a prawn sandwich?
Every January, I think you're obsessed with prawn sandwiches, to be honest, but every January you will see people with their New Year resolutions making a difference. I'm going to take a packed lunch to work. I'm going to batch cook. And as we then see the year start to transform and the better weather gets here, people's moods shift. But no, actually, some of this is a different mindset, and it's here to stay. It's about healthier eating, well-being, being in control of what you eat, nutrition. These are all trends we're seeing come through in a decent amount of size and scale. So I think some of it is a very different mindset. There's a cost benefit, but actually it's perhaps, like you say, a much more exciting lunch. And you're quite right about those microwave queues. When I go into offices, they seem to be out the door and the smells are really incredible.
Kate Hardcastle, retail analyst there. So Tom,